Welcome to Origin Stories. I'm RD.
I'm Parrot.
We're telling stories behind the digital art revolution.
Each week we interview top artists
and live stream with the community.
Let's go. Today is tomorrow's origin story.
And we are live.
Sweet. What's up?
We're live doing something. We're doing something. We're doing everything today. This is the biggest mashup ever in the NFT podcast video space.
Awesome. Yeah, and everyone gets to see us and how we work with our $15 microphones with the full setup in our hands. So
yeah, I don't even have a microphone.
you sound the best, I think.
Really?
Think yours actually sounds pretty clear.
Yeah, it sounds decent.
It's the room.
It must be, dude. Good audio reverberations.
Put some pads on the wall.
I need a pad on my wall. I have a good mic here, but it reverberates just a little bit. So I need an audio pad on my wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also, Tyler does a good job like editing and cutting up the audio and stuff. So I'm wondering, maybe he's the one making everything sound so good.
We were just talking about that before he got on. Just how like his is just straight up like press start and go. And then in ours with just like Tyler ripping it up and really crushing it.
I try. It's no formal training there.
Tyler, I'm gonna start sending you Origin Stories episodes. If you wouldn't mind just taking out all my knows.
I'm all over it, man.
So what's up, guys? What are you thinking about these days? We sit here on a fine weekend in the NFT space. We have the Artifact Fewocious shoe forge going on. Mike, you guys are about to melt some faces. What's everyone thinking about?
Tyler knows more about the cubes than I do, but I know that the auctions are ending. So I guess my first question was, are you in on them? And if you are, what are you poking around on? Because you got to have a side eye, I feel like, on that right now.
CryptoCubes is close to my heart. I've been involved in that team, just pushing the project forward in some good ways, I hope. Seems like everything is done really, really well. The prints obviously had multiples of interest, and the secondary market really caught fire coming off, which I love to see because some secondaries have been so lately. So that was a big marker for us to take a look at. The auctions, really we're recording right just before the end of the beginning sequence of these auctions that are staggered by 15s. I know there's some really solid bids in right now on Fvckrender and Victor, Refik, and on down the line. Everyone seems to be doing really well. So am I in on them? No, I'm in on you guys. I'm here to report.
No bids though?
This right now.
What's that? Mike,
I'm going to hop over to this right now and see what's going on.
Yeah, let's do this. We might as well, since we're just kind of hanging out. Let's see what's going on the Nifty streets.
Yeah, auctions are always fun. And
they really are.
When we were watching the GMUNK, and obviously you wanted one and landed one. But you're like, it's the last 5 minutes. And that like rung so true there. And it's going to do it again, I feel like, with these, and it's going to keep happening. But
yeah, it's always the last 5 minutes, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the mad dash.
And all of them are great in their own specific way. Like one that caught my eye actually that, obviously I love Victor and Fred's pieces, but I really like someone who I'd never heard of was Nicolas Daniel.
Yes.
Did CryptoCube number 4. I love that so much.
Exploring the inside of the cube. I was really impressed too. I told him I wasn't as aware of Nicolas Daniel's work, and now I am. It's just so clear. Had a chance to dive into some of his other stuff. I agree with you. It was the person I was least aware of, and I will never forget him.
Yeah, man, he does some trippy stuff. I've seen his work in the past, but like, as soon as you see that visual, you know exactly whose work it is, just by like that trippy. I don't even know how he does that shit, but it's cool.
Yeah, it'll be a fun game to play where you post them all and match them up to the artist. I'm sure it'd be a pretty easy thing to do these days.
So what's everyone's favorite? So you mentioned Nicolas Daniel. What's everyone else? Not necessarily favorites because they're all pretty freaking special, but what catches everyone else's eye?
Fvckrender always catches your eye. Phillips, I like Phillips. I don't know why. I think it's just
so
good.
It's so subtle. Like Philip stuff, when you look at it, it's like so subtle, but at the same time, it's like clearly there. Like it's clearly, you clearly get the concept.
It's the only still as well.
Yeah, but you have to look at it for a second. Like there's so much going on in his shit that like you got to zoom in and really look around. Like, I mean, that's what I love about his work. It's just like you can kind of zoom in on stuff and find like little Easter eggs and shit like that.
The Easter eggs in this are so good. You have the Fvckrender suck, which I thought was a great graffiti tag, and then you have the survivor count days that are crossed over on the bottom of the Qbot.
Exactly. Like that's the stuff I love.
Yeah.
And also Victor, man, like he really crushed it on this one. Like he's so talented, and you can immediately look at his work and be like, that's Victor, you know?
Always. I call that a dock hovering in the void. Just this interesting perspective on the CryptoCube. He really took it an interesting way. You wouldn't even know it's that. That could be an artwork that has nothing to do with the CryptoCube. Just this really interesting shaped dock staring off into the horizon line.
So nice.
On the wall too, I can imagine it looking so great because it's subtle. It's like a longer spanning time where the sun's just moving closer and further away. I'm sure that would just trip the hell out of people. I'd love it.
Yeah. I mean, Refik's is really good too. Like just that whole like refraction going on. I mean, that's really pleasing to look at.
How about the physical associated with that? Have you seen it? It's madness.
I haven't.
I have not either.
Same.
It's insane. He basically is giving you a computer.
What?
And it changes with time and location. The entire presentation of the cube changes. It is insane.
It like lines up to your GPS coordinates.
It might be the biggest slept on component of this entire sequence of 8 artists. If we go to his social, if anyone can pull up his Twitter.
Yeah, why do we not see this on the Nifty Gateway page?
Oh my gosh.
Promoed.
You know, that's the thing about the GMUNK auction as well. I don't think anybody realized that it was coming with like a physical book.
Yeah, artwork comes with a physical screen as well as
I'm
a
so stoked I
server that
snagged one of
runs with
those.
custom software. That's sick. Yeah, those books are so sick.
Yeah, and Michael Cena, dude, he's a legend. So
That was one of the first things you showed me, just like on Instagram. Like I was never on Instagram. The only time I started looking at Instagram was when you gave me access to your account.
yeah.
And I feel like that was one of the first things you showed me was that InfraMonk in all this stuff there. And it just blows my mind. That's like stuff that's just there through a lens that you can't tell. You don't know what you're looking at. And then you can just stare at it for so long.
Yeah, I've been a fan of GMUNK for many years. And just to win that auction, dude, with 69s the entire way, it was just such, you know, like 6'9", 6'9", 6'9". Had to.
It was the first one to close, I think. And those were going crazy. I thought you were going to end up with the golf course.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to battle you, man. They saw you in there and were like, okay, let's just let this end.
Yeah, I just wanted one. I didn't even care which one I got, honestly. I wanted the book.
Roger, that makes me think. Do you have any good auction battle stories yourself?
Oh man, probably the most upsetting one to me was back in the day. The first drop that I absolutely fell in love with. It's probably my worst decision like throughout. I told this story on a James Wang's podcast recently, or Clubhouse recently. Mad Dog Jones. I just fell in love with him from day one. I'll never forget his phone booth drop. I just sat there all night long trading that drop. I acquired 8 phone booths over the course of that night, just stacking phone booths. I had to stop myself to tear myself away from not just buying every damn phone booth in that drop. The auctions the next night, I finished runner up to both. And there was a specific moment where I was in my own, like the dollars that I was allocating to NFTs and collecting and investing, like I just wasn't there yet in terms of being able to really stretch it. But I remember making the decision in my mind that I'm gonna stretch this as far as I can right now. And there was a moment I could freeze the frame. I can go back like it was yesterday, where I had both these auctions up side by side, and I thought I was gonna win both. Like it was ticking down to the last seconds of both, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna win this. And then I got outbid on both fronts. I got into 2 battles, and I had to pull back on both. So that's probably you say auction battles. I'm sure I've won some stuff over time. Like One of the more memorable ones recently was Toomuchlag's auction. Loopify and I were going back and forth. That one I actually did win. But yeah, I'll never forget the Mad Dog moment.
Damn. To go back in time on that too, with how well Mad Dog's doing now, you know?
Yep.
So what do you know about Replicator?
Replicator's insane. I mean, Mad Dog is just doing move after move right now where he's just, I don't know how I want to phrase this. He's just owning his shit and moving things forward in such a transformative manner. Replicator looks sweet. Looks like an intricate concept that's going to play out over a long period of time. I like that. I like the jammability and what the jams then end up doing to the piece that's produced. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more education for me around exactly what he's doing there, but I've liked everything I've read. How about you guys? How about you guys?
I'm still trying to comprehend it. Like it seems really complex, and I feel like I need to have a conversation with Mad Dog to really understand what's going on, because there is a lot going on with it. I mean, the artwork's amazing. I just need to figure out how it works. Maybe I'm just too dumb to understand it. I don't know.
No, I don't think it's all out there yet. But you know, I'll create a parallel here to Artifact Studios with the Fewocious shoe drop, right? Where these NFTs are becoming the blueprints is the term that they're using. I call them like distribution channels, you know, future generations. So different, but the same in my mind, where these NFT use cases are now being explored, where the NFT that you purchase has an influence upon something else that you can get, and then something else, and then something else. And there's different formulas at play. Like Mad Dog, I think with the jam mechanism is playing with how many future generations do you have access to and what do you actually get? Whereas Artifact is doing it pretty clean. You know, there'll be another forge in September, and then you'll be able to get another pair of shoes and some other benefits. I like that distribution channel thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Malavida has one coming out as well, the Heal the Deal. We haven't heard all the details yet, but sounds like going to get some rewards out of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I
the
just want
JN.
to be able to, like, in the future, I mean, I don't know anyone who's built this out yet, but like, if you have some of my earlier works, you'll be the only one to have access to certain edition counts. And I think that's something that, you know, Nifty is working on building a mechanism for. If I knew how to build it, I would do it immediately. But I think that's sick, like that, you know, like rewarding previous collectors and giving them access before everybody else. I think is a really interesting concept to explore.
That's the word, access. That's the word. And access comes in so many different forms that I really believe that's the next frontier of NFTs. It's access to the person, to the artist art, to some unique aspect that nobody else can touch, or only a select few or a select group can touch. It's a really interesting concept that can be played with a million different ways.
Yeah,
So
even in the physical world as well, like we can start, you know, I know especially with Blau, like he can start giving people access to shows and events, collectors and stuff like that. Like I really can't wait to see how, you know, if COVID ever ends, like how this is going to play out, how the NFT community is going to come together in the real world, you know?
Those first few events, right? that everyone can attend. I don't even know.
Wonder what they're gonna be. Is it gonna be like a festival or like a con style? Like
NFT con?
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Whatever it is.
What's the one? Isn't there something in New York in October-ish?
About that.
Yeah, I did hear about that. That it never happened though, right? Or are you talking about?
I'm talking about this coming.
Oh, this coming October.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I think there's some conference, or I don't know the details. I just have heard it in passing. But if that goes down, I mean, that could de facto just be the first event that people meet up at.
Yeah, it's interesting too to see people putting a timeline on it. Then, if they're talking October, then I mean, that could be turnaround time, where it could be a domino effect, and you start seeing it.
Yep.
Is that in New York? That one?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I know what you guys are talking about now.
This one that we have no real idea what it is, but we just know that there's something in New York in October.
The Genesis meetup.
We'll be there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Did we just make a conference?
Which NFT do I need to buy to get in?
If it's not going down, let's combine our powers and just create the thing.
Just do it.
I know, seriously.
Testing before and after. See you in New York.
Is I was gonna ask because that's like on the topic of not looking into stuff enough. The Jay and Silva and ThankYouX with their giveaway.
I had no idea.
You have no idea.
I had no idea that was even happening until it happened.
But that my brain would think that is access to a virtual space for them.
Yeah.
But maybe a physical space where you can purchase or, obviously kind of peruse or just view stuff. I don't know. I guess, Roger, you know anything extra about that?
I like those guys a lot.
Yeah. They're awesome.
Yeah.
I'm actually,
go ahead.
I'm actually pissed that had been doing all these giveaways in like the Nifty Gateway Discord, and I fucking gave away all my ThankYouX and JN like random Nifty Gateway users. And I was like, fuck, as soon as I saw that, because I think I had 3 at one point. I basically have like no NFTs left. I've just been giving them to everybody.
You're like, give me my bonus NFT at least.
I know.
The nice guy NFT.
I mean, speaking of bonus NFT, well, not bonus or however we want to frame it, but Mike, man, I got some faces to burn.
Dude, I know, that's gonna be wild. We're trying to guess like how many are gonna get burned, but it seems like people are really hyped about that. I mean, obviously the idea came from Mad Dog Jones, who did it first, but with the amount that we sold, I think it's only logical that we take the same approach. So, and I think, most faces holders are pretty excited about burning some faces. So I think we'll get a decent amount. I don't know how many.
I think there's 3 win situations in this for faces holders, right? You can either burn 6 and get yourself a 1 of 1. You can burn 1.
Yeah,
that's right.
You can enter 1 for a 1 of 1.
Right.
You can burn 6 for a new asset, and then you can hold if you want, and the scarcity, and they'll be more scarce.
Exactly.
So yeah, I guess it is a win-win.
Triple win.
A triple win. I'm waiting for the moment, and it won't be this one just because there are a lot of faces, but I'm waiting for the moment when it becomes the win, the first ever innovative win is actually holding. Like the person who thinks down the line with the quantity and how it will play out.
Yeah.
And scarcity of what they're left holding as opposed to turning in will actually end up being the most valued piece. Hasn't happened yet. Obviously the Mad Dog piece I thought might get close, but that dramatically ended up the other way.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen sometime.
Oh, for sure. I think, when we did the faces thing, I know, so Nifty had like a limit. I think it was 9,999 editions could get sold, and then it would just no more could get sold after that. So we wanted to see if we could hit that number, which is like part of the game, but we didn't come close. I don't think anyone will ever do it unless they do like a $20 edition or something, but Nifty won't even let you do that because it's it's a loss because there is a minting fee. But that would be funny if somebody hit 9,999 editions sold.
You guys did kind of come close. I know you said you didn't, but you kind of did. I mean, you got more than halfway there.
Yeah, a little bit over halfway.
Yeah.
I just think that would be funny, and then that was like our last open editions as SSX Blau. I'm not going to be doing any more open editions, and neither is Justin. So it was kind of just like the last hurrah, like let's go out with a bang and mint as many as we possibly can. Call it a day.
Yep. And then 5 years from now, you might have done 3 or 4 more face melts. And then it's really, really important that you held that entire time.
Yeah.
Rogers put that nugget right in your brain. You have to, tip the scale.
Maybe I should hold some faces after all.
Yeah. That's the debate though, right? Yeah.
It is. It's a good debate. It's a good debate to have. It makes it fun.
I think the funniest part about it is your Instagram post of like your old style where you're kind of doing like the melty faces.
The face melts, yeah.
Yeah, all I can think about is melting faces to like 2016.
Yeah, I had a post on Instagram in 2018, and I think the title of it was like an old Adidas photo that I found somewhere, and I like melted the faces together, and then I just wrote all day I dream about face melts.
Yeah.
my fiance pulled up the picture the other day, and I was like, holy shit, prophecy right there.
You knew.
Yeah, I knew before I knew.
You know what? I bet you someone could do if they have big enough cachet. And I mean, obviously, Mike, I think you and Blau do. But in the future, someone can get that 9999. I bet someone can tap Nifty with a very specific plan, you know, almost the loss leader plan. Even if they end up paying, they're just outright paying,
Yeah,
drop 9999 of something for a lower cost, and then having some insane step by step after that led down all these different roads as to what batches of additions ended up doing. And there almost could be this mass game that comes from breaking the record and then the buzz that comes with it.
exactly. And I think, you know, the thing is I think Nifty is like switching, you know, they're switching their minting process. So I think at some point they will be able to mint over 9,999 editions. So I think there's a time limit. So I mean, if that ever happens, it will never be able to happen again because Nifty's like switching up. So like there's kind of like a race to be able to do that.
Someone better get this done.
I know, dude.
I had never thought about that until you just said it, and
Yeah,
I'm
everybody
excited.
really
It doesn't even
knows.
exist.
All right. Who, if it's not, so if we take Mike, you out of the equation, right? So saying you can't be the answer to this question.
I can't anymore.
Let's go around the room and who would be the most likely artist, just randomly on the top of your mind, to put together the insane step-by-step plan to create the loss leader, to break the record, and then do more crazy stuff?
Probably Pac. I
Mhm.
feel like he'd be like smart enough to come up with like some fucking crazy mechanism that ends up leading into all these other weird alleys with 9,999 editions. I mean, I think somebody popular as well, maybe like a Fewocious or Trevor. Trevor came close. He minted a shit ton of editions at $777. So I think anyone with you know clout in the NFT space would be able to do it. I think it would really just come down to the mechanism and price point.
You know what I think about though? What's the what was the platform that Snoop Dogg and they're doing those drops now?
Crypto.com.
Is that legit crypto.com? Is it okay? So if you flip through those, there are like 25,000 editions available at like $50 or
It's like
something
Snoop
that.
Dogg's face or something.
So
I didn't even see that.
so like it's kind of already out there, but as far as like an open timed edition thing, yeah,
That has no future mechanism, I would imagine. They're not burning any of the Snoop Dogs there that I know of. But I would say if I had to choose someone not Pac, I don't know how to say it. I would say Toomuchlag, only for the story building aspect that I think he could create something really cool where you could tell so many different stories and go down different avenues with that. And he could sell a bunch of open editions. We saw that, and that was at the 777 price point. So if you brought that down, you know, who knows what could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes back to like community building too, where it's like he's got people now that are, you know, we're in the Discord, we're following his stuff. He's like giving us a heads up. And I mean, you know more than anyone else, Roger, like that's what you're investing in is the, you know, what's next and what's around the corner. And it's cool to just see like him and Fvckrender with what they're creating, because everything's going like there's a virtual like movement where now this stuff's going to be visually, like we talked about before, with like having assets to utilize within. And that's what these can be, you know, right now without us even really knowing what they can do. That's like that's the cool part, which I don't think people really conceptualize yet. So I don't know why. There's been so many points in times where like I don't know why something makes sense in like when it comes to this space, but like I know it makes sense. I think I know it makes sense. But yeah, it's cool to see what these dudes can develop both visually and like from a storyboard.
Like Fvckrender verse.
Yeah,
like
that's crazy.
he just has a gallery in the galaxy. You know, it's like a beautiful experience to walk around and look at these different pieces of this world that people own. You
I
know,
know,
that's
yeah.
a placard that has my name on it. I own that plant or whatever, you know, like.
Crazy to think this happened in like 6 months, basically. I mean, I know NFTs have been, you know, they've been around for a few years now, but like the, you know, the big explosion that we saw was obviously started like back in October. But just in like that period, the amount of artwork that has come out of this is absolutely mind blowing.
Like you marked the beginning of it for me, man. You really do with Last Stand. Like
That's what I was going to ask you. When
Yeah.
was it for you that it's like, all right, I'm in. I don't know why, but I'm in this.
Yeah, so I mean, I was studying NFTs probably since summer, right, or early fall.
Yeah,
doing the deep dive. I was very aware of like I remember I tried to get a Beeple piece, you know, was in on all that stuff. But then I remember sitting on my couch and talking to my wife when I had made the decision. I'm like, I'm going to start buying NFTs, you know. And I remember sitting there and I'm thinking, it'll probably mean something one day what the first NFT that I buy is. And I remember sitting there and I flipped my phone and I showed her Last Stand. And she's like, that has to be the one. That's the one. That's going to be the one. And I remember having the thought, it's funny, the thoughts you go back to, what if, right? I remember having the thought of like, I should buy 20 of these. For real. I'm like,
they were so cheap. They were $40.
Exactly. And I sat there and I'm thinking. And, you know, I just said, well, I have to buy at least one. I bought one. I moved on with my day. And then here we are, you know, what could have been.
Do you still have one, or did you end up selling it?
That's my first NFT. I cannot sell it.
Wow, really?
I cannot sell that NFT.
Holy shit.
I don't care. That NFT could go to $1 million in addition. And I just don't, with what this space means to me personally, I'm here, you know, I brought my life over. I'm here full time. I'm all in NFTs, doing some fun. I'll tell you guys some fun stuff after we end record. It's not quite ready for public consumption, but
nice.
That's actually amazing. I did not know that Last Stand was your first NFT. That makes me feel extreme amount of joy.
The literal first one.
You know, and like that was actually, you know, like when I entered the space, I did not have a good understanding of crypto. So I actually worked with, you know, a few people to develop that piece. Like I know, you know, Griffin from Nifty Gateway, I consulted with him on some ideas, and then Blau, of course, like helped me out with some aspects of that. It felt, you know, that piece to me felt like my journey into the space as well, because it was like me trying to understand, you know, the crypto space and what it meant. And that's what I was trying to do with that piece. I'm still blown away with what happened with Last Stand. I mean, $40 to where it is now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Your people closest to you paper handed that so hard.
I know, dude.
Everyone.
Everybody.
I mean, we have to.
My dad sold it at like $400.
No,
I sold mine.
Dad.
I sold mine for $1,300 when it was like spiking because I put it up for sale. But I mean, Tyler's definitely got the worst one. So
Yeah,
So RD, me and you came into the space around the same time, but in totally different ways. I wasn't thinking about buying 20 at all. And I wish I was thinking on that line. But I bought one at $40, like you guys said, and sold it for like $69. I think I broke even. Like I didn't understand what I was getting into. And it haunts me every day. And I think we've mentioned it on every podcast so far.
Yeah, we
I can't live it down.
Did you really sell it for $69? So at least there's a little redemption in that, right?
I guess, yeah. We tracked it down before, but I bet it's moved hands again. You know, it's tough to see a piece that you have trade hands a bunch of times, but this one, thankfully, I think only moved 2 or 3 and only sold for like $3,000. And now the guy's like holding on to it tight. So at least it's got a better owner than me, I guess, at this point.
Isn't it funny? I mean, we all probably have countless regrets.
regrets.
Fine. I'm not sugarcoating it. Just straight up regrets.
Every NFT I've ever sold, I now regret selling that NFT because
100%.
it made more money later on. And I was even thinking years from now. I mean, it's ridiculous though. I mean, although that approach did allow me to have more money to spend back into the space because I didn't have a lot of disposable income or like a lot of money for investment lying around. So those early pieces that I flipped for, you know, $100 here, $200 here, getting up to $1,000, I put it right back in. And now I actually have an all right collection that I'm proud of because of those first couple moves that I had to do a couple missteps on.
It happens. It does. It just happens.
Yeah, but it's so cool though, because it's like for as many L's as you could take, you can probably look at the W's too. And right now, whatever you're holding is probably a W. Oh, so we probably, now that I think of it, Last Stand was probably the first thing we bought too.
That was my first NFT.
Like, I mean, for sure.
It represents the beginning in my mind of the parabolic rise, very clearly, and even more clearly because of how it was priced. Right, it was priced. Right. It was priced low, and you could just kind of follow its trajectory as this market exploded. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I think when I was doing open editions back then, my idea was like, let's keep them cheap so that more people can buy into them. Like, to me, that's what I felt like open edition should be like, you know, allow access for people who might not necessarily be able to afford like the lower edition counts. And I think open editions just became an absolute beast at one point, and people were treating them like in crazy ways. It was just funny to see what happened with open editions. They've kind of collapsed lately, you know.
$1,500 price tags are tough with a down market, you know.
Yeah.
And so, I was gonna say, Roger, when I remember this, I remember me and Tyler, because we started like doing these mock podcasts where we were just recorded. We were talking about, do you remember when Nifty Gateway came out with their guidelines, their community guidelines that they were like looking for like feedback on and like the community word? There's no way that was had in mind what was about to come, because I haven't heard anything about those since then. And I mean, I like it. I like that it's like kind of, you know, almost like a Wild West where you just gunslinging and you can do whatever you want. You can basically like run your own desk, make your own choices. And I just remember thinking like, how are they going to control these people? These people can do whatever they want. And I don't know, it almost seems like they're just throw them out. It doesn't matter anymore. But I think that's good.
Lines up and see what happens and then toss them.
Exactly. And then it's like so many people, just so many editions. Like you remember the like weeks where there'd be like 3 drops, right? Now there's 3 drops a night. It's like, how do you consume all this? And for new people too, it's like you almost got to get caught up to, you know, last summer and kind of see where that was at, because it just took off so fast and it's overwhelming at time, and you can't really like sleep if you don't want to miss something. So
sleep has been hard to come by for sure.
Yeah, I actually just woke up. Like that's why I was late to this podcast.
Good morning. Good morning.
Mike, what can you talk about your new collab
with Playboy?
Yeah.
I guess I can't really talk much about it. That's kind of been what they said to me.
It's not a bad thing though.
No,
I like that. I think,
but it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, they've given me access to like the archives, and I've been able to look through some super old photos. You know, and every time I want to use something, we have to run it by Playboy and see if they can use it. There's one image I guess I can talk about because I've already released it, and Larry has the original physical. Was this ad I found in an old Playboy magazine, and I took a bunch of weed and like glued it to the dude, and I called him Weed Man. So he has a big weed afro and a big weed mustache. And then I scanned it on my scanner over here and brought it into the computer and digitized it. And like the reaction on that went extremely well. Like on my Instagram, people were loving that piece. And so we just have to get clearance from Playboy's like legal team if we can use that ad. But I mean, they are Playboy sunglasses. Yeah, I want to fucking use it.
And I owe you a picture of it because I forgot to take one this morning when I went back to my house. So I'll get that to you next time I see it.
I guess the weed's like, what is it, browning or some shit?
Yeah, it's just like aging inside the frame. So it's almost like it's kind of alive in a way and like aging with you. It's cool.
Do you have a 24/7 time lapse just trained on it so you can see the browning over time?
Oh, that's the mistake. That's the mistake.
That would have been a hell of an NFT.
We would have NFT'd that.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so cool to see like you collaborating, working with such an iconic brand, especially like where you started with, what you did with the, your story of going to pick up editions of the magazine, scanning it
Exactly.
yourself and doing it now, and now you have access to their archives. It's just so cool.
It's
And
weird, like, because, you know, I've obviously like taken a bunch of Playboy images before and like reworked them in different ways, and they were cool with that when I just sent them, hey guys, I stole this this advertisement out of your magazine and put a bunch of weed on it. They were like cool with it. So you know, like, that's something about collage art that always like sketched me out, as like somebody got to come out of the woodwork and be like, yo, you're using my shit. But to me, it's like that magazine from, you know, the late 70s is probably just collecting dust somewhere. No one's looking at that image anymore. It's like, why not pull it out and do something new with it, you know? I mean, I think art should be recycled. You know, if I'm dead and somebody finds my shit and does something cool with it again, like, all power to them, you know?
yeah, you're almost breathing life back into it. So
Exactly.
it's only going to be good for them.
And at some point, like a brand along those lines, they have so much IP,
Yeah.
so much, decades of IP. So yeah, it's fun as long as it's treated in a reasonable fashion, and it's creative and done by someone solid. Then why not?
Yeah.
Mike, Uniswap. Speaking of open editions,
Yeah.
excited about that. I own the number two edition.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And the number 7. I got 2 and 7.
Wow. Oh, so you're getting 2 books.
Yep.
Yeah,
To be fair, I haven't decided what to do with number 7 yet. But number 2 is coming. It's coming home. It's coming home.
Oh yeah. So yeah, man. We're finishing up the fabrication on the acrylic cases. I just actually posted a tweet about it. They're hand cutting everything. So this was like a huge process to create, much more than I realized when I announced the book drop. It's been amazing. Like, we put so much effort into just like making this a sick book. Like, I wanted to make sure that I didn't like go to China and just like get these cheap ass acrylic cases for like $2. We spent a lot of money making sure that, you know, they were made in the United States and that they were hand fabricated and they were done extremely well. I think you know, when you receive the book, you'll realize how much quality was put into it. And then on 4/20, we're gonna just redeem everybody who has the token in their account will receive the book.
It's exciting. Can't wait.
Yeah,
Can't
man.
wait.
Banned from the internet.
Yep. That's a fun story. That was the era where there were these very clear, I don't know if anyone else was on the same trail, but there were these very clear bot accounts on Nifty Gateway. Yeah. And it was pretty
very aware.
Very good. And a few of them in particular, I had the habit of just figuring out, okay, what are they going to do with what they have? And I remember the one took most of their, whoever it was, their stuff over to OpenSea. And Mike, I was hot on the tail of 3 artworks, 2 of which I acquired. One, so I had an original Uniswap that I since sold once I acquired the 2 and the 7, but the 2 and the 7 I went after on OpenSea, and it was an account with those 2 artworks. And then there was it was a great bridge by ThankYouX and Silva, and I wanted all 3, and I had bids in for all 3, and I had to wait on the Uniswaps because they were kind of priced ridiculously high at the time, and so I ended up getting those, but the Great Bridge by ThankYouX and Silva, it was priced too high. I had a very reasonable bid in. It expired on OpenSea. And in the interim of me trying to go back to rebid, someone else bid super low and the bot took it. Like
Heartbreak.
Hundreds of dollars under where I would have come right back in at. It must have been a couple hour window. It was crazy.
That's frustrating. Yeah, like competing with bots like must hurt. Like like back then I wasn't buying many NFTs. Like I was just focusing on like putting my shit out. But I can imagine from like a collector standpoint, when you're competing with bots, like must be fucking painful. Like
it's painful. It's painful.
The CAPTCHA has been really helpful, I hope. Detecting bots. It was a long time coming, but it's there now. So
yeah,
I'm excited about that.
And you can tell that it's working because, you know, usually bots will like scoop up too many pieces. And And now it's like on the open editions, at least, that I don't know if the numbers have gone down because there's a caption now. And people can't just click buy, and the boss can't just scoop.
I'll never forget seeing your stuff disappear in seconds. Even the first drop with you and Blau. It's like,
Yeah.
Holy shit, that is gone within you can't click fast enough. It was
sold out in like under 7 seconds or something.
that was one of those moments for me where I was like, oh, okay, this is. And
then somebody like fat fingered a bid on somebody. So that was like back when the prices weren't that crazy. Like I think, ours sold for 21,000.
21.
Yeah, and we were fucking stoked on that because that was such a high number. But somebody ended up like putting in a $210,000 bid while me and Justin were FaceTiming. Like at the end of the auction, we started going nuts, and we found out that the dude like fat fingered it and put an extra 0 in there. So then Nifty like introduced, you know how when you like bid now on Nifty, you have to enter the value in twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was depressing. It was like we went to this moment of just huge joy just to have it taken away, but then we were happy, it sold for 21,000. But that was funny.
Well, the new one blew that out of the water, so I think you guys are all right now.
Yeah.
It's nice to arrive at a point where you can look back and laugh at things like that.
Exactly.
It'd be sad the other way if you're at a point where you're like, oh man, that I needed that. Like that would have been life-changing.
100%.
It was a good problem to have for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, we were stoked with 21,000, but just to have that fat finger bid, just boost your joy just a little bit more, and then just have it taken away in like 0.2 seconds.
I had that like flashback when he was doing his own, when Justin was doing his own on his platform, and it was like the day before it was supposed to end. It went from like 25,000 to like 46,000 or something.
Yeah.
And the dude just like fat fingered by 20 grand. And even then, I remember you explaining to us how like they had to go through hoops to refund him or something, figure out his credit card info, whatever.
Yeah, that happened on Justin's auction as well. Somebody fat fingered a bid because Origin didn't put in that safeguard where you have to like enter the number twice, and somebody accidentally bid too much. But the funny thing is the auction went way higher than that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is that would be the ironic part, is that it sold for like, I don't know.
The lowest person that got
700
something
times
was
that.
30 grand, right?
Yeah.
That was awesome. I'll never forget. I was at Tyler's house, and it was supposed to end at like 10 Eastern, and it was like 12. It was like midnight here.
Let's do a clubhouse for like 4 hours.
Yeah. And I remember talking to 888 saying like he had his computer in a refrigerator, I guess, because it was overheating while he was trying to bid. And he had to stay there for like 4 hours because the auction didn't end. It just kept going.
That's funny.
Like, get that man a better computer already.
Agreed.
Jeez.
Yeah,
You'd think you would be able to land a top-end computer rig.
Yeah.
I know.
Guys, I have the idea. I have it.
Let's
I
hear
have
it.
the idea that somebody, and I'm actually going to take the suggestion, Pack could do tomorrow to break the Nifty Gateway record, hold it for all time, the 9,999. All it has to be done is you take the unsold and you fractionalize it to $101 an edition.
Dude.
Dang, done.
Wow.
You gonna edit that
Over.
out? You gonna cut that part out and save it?
Wow.
Dude, no,
that is so true.
Tomorrow, fractionalize it, run it,
yeah,
boom.
that would do it 100%. Easily.
Come on, Pack. While you're doing the mega auction house, just take a minute out. We can help you arrange it. You'll break the record.
Yeah, you don't even have to lift a finger.
You should do it in line with the auction. Why?
Yeah.
Why not? Right?
Because here's the thing: if he does it now, like it will never be able to be done again on Nifty Gateway, because they're gonna, they're switching over their minting. I don't know what they're going to be doing, but they'll be able to go higher than 9,999. So, like this is the last opportunity to do it. It just depends on if he wants that many editions out there.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember like me and Tyler just like doing our like little mock combos, recording stuff just to listen to it when his drop came to Nifty Gateway, and I was
The title.
dude, I was so confused. I was like, what the hell is this? Like everyone's getting the same piece. And I was just so shallow minded on it, just not even thinking what was around the corner. And being able to tie it back now to something that's still technically active in there is brilliant. That's such a good idea.
He should do it, dude. It would be legendary to have that many additions. I mean, I'm fine with it. I wouldn't mind having
Dude,
that.
it would be a mad dash to 999.
It would.
Those would go. It would be under 10. That would be another one where you couldn't click fast.
And you know,
He might already have that idea, to be honest with you.
how dare you? How dare you?
I'm just saying, he's a mastermind, dude. He blows my mind. Like,
He's smart, man.
why would he have the unsold if for some reason he wasn't going to? I mean, I guess it is the title, but I don't know, man. That would be awesome. Maybe he'll just do it now. We'll give you credit, though.
No, we'll all take credit. We all came up with this. This
Yeah.
happened.
Okay.
This happened here. This happened here.
Yeah.
This happened in the mashup, in the pod mashup.
Love it.
Exactly.
But think that's kind of fun, right? Because it avoids theoretically in the creator's mind, it might avoid the problem of having so many additions because it is so directly tied to a top, unsold edition, right? It's kind of not 9,999 editions. It's just percent ownerships of the bigger pie. So I don't know, maybe that's the solve there where
That's a way to think about NFTs in general.
That's coming, right?
The market cap of an artist, you own a piece of that,
Sure.
basically. I mean, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, where you'll be able to fractionalize, like say me or you wanted to take something and fractionalize it and like dish off portions of ownership. Like that in theory is probably doable at some point.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what B20 is, right?
Yep.
You would need a contract converter or something, because if it's not already built into the contract, it would have to be changed in some sort of way.
Or it'd have to be stored, stored somewhere else. And there'll be a service, right? You'll be able to set something up. You'll be able to transfer your contract somewhere. They'll take care of that top level, and then essentially it'll be like a labeled or white labeled marketing service that you either take on the marketing of your own asset, or maybe they have a marketplace to do that for you.
So we were actually trying to come up with an idea to like do this, like make one piece, everyone could own a percentage of it. We were going to do it for Slimesunday as a billboard, and it never ended up happening because Pac ended up doing that whole tiling thing. And that's kind of what we were going to do with the billboard, was like tile it out. But, each tile represented some type of percentage of ownership. So we had to rethink what we were going to do there.
No, you just save that in the drafts, and you can fine tune that at another point, and it's all about timing.
And that's
a really good idea,
because you could flip the tiles as they've been sold, like on the billboard. Yeah.
Exactly.
God.
Or imagine that you're just selling the space, and then people can display whatever they want.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Fractionalized billboard NFTs.
That's why it's in the drafts folder.
It is in the drafts. It's still, I think a billboard's still happening at some point. Just gotta think about it correctly.
So RD, what projects have you excited right now? I think another one on my radar is BakaArts with the Surrogate season 2, I think, coming out soon.
Yeah, I love Baka. I'm a big Baka fan, and his dragon Bob. I don't know if you know Bob.
No, not yet.
He's got this little what's the
I did see it. It's a bearded dragon. I did
bearded
see
dragon. That's the word. Bearded dragon. But Baka came on Origin Stories live stream, and he kind of did the MTV Cribs thing of his place, and he brought Bob out, and that dude is a force of nature. I just really appreciate his personality a lot. I know he's helped a lot of artists. He's educated a lot of artists. A lot of people like Parrot attribute some of his early tutorials to Baka. He's just a bright light. So I'm a Baka fan, and then obviously by extension his work in the Surrogates as well, and the Ether Tales, of course.
His work is amazing. I'm a big fan as well.
I gotta give a shout out too, and I think I saw something where it's not an origin story unless Aeforia gets brought up, Alexi. So I gotta bring him up
Every time
just to get him in, because he's the man. He was one of the first.
Few
NFTs I bought. He was our first guest, and he was one of the first NFTs I bought. I think his thing where he's dropped that 1 of 1 on SuperRare, I don't know where it's at right now in terms of like the auction, but just donating, taking a like community poll and then donating to the foundations that are in there. You've obviously seen charities, but I think that's I think that's so cool and just kind of in his nature to do something like that.
So the bidding is currently at GMUNK coming in with top bid right now at 6
Really?
6 ETH.
Damn.
Nice, dude.
GMUNK.
Yeah, a couple shout outs there. Toomuchlag came in first with an offer of 3 days ago. Fvckrender made it 4, and then GMUNK has made it 6, and that is where it sits as of right now.
And GMUNK just made a huge donation as well to offset all of his carbon for all of his NFTs he's ever minted. So he did it double.
Love that. Love
Yeah,
that.
dude.
Good statement made.
Yep.
Yeah, and you see like the support. It's not just like with this, like the internal support now with you know, the artist community within itself, and then, you know, kind of becoming a pseudo collector community, right? And I think it's cool to see the little connection and support that everyone's kind of passing along.
Did you see, by the way, I believe your Aeforia is on his the new hoodie, right?
Yeah, Ivy. Yeah, he texted me or DM'd me when he was putting that out. I was so pumped.
Yeah.
I just love that piece. I don't know why. It's a little different than his typical style with like the just like the dark colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was think about that. I bought that for 7.7 ETH in November, I think it was. And
ETH was probably like 14.
It was like $3,500.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, it was less than that.
Yeah, it was low.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah.
I had to throw him in there and get him in the mix. Just to make sure.
I like it. You keep him with tradition. You know the traditions.
Yeah.
I'm flipping over here, checking out how these CryptoCubes auctions are doing since we are real time. We got Nicolas Daniels coming up in like 15 minutes at $12,000.
Are those all ending at the same time?
No, they're staggered by 15 minutes.
15, yep. 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, the final 5, man. Like someone could probably run a platform that's legit called the Final 5, where they just run either not stream, but just showcase every auction, as many as they can find, and just say these are ending like cross-platform someday.
It's a good idea, actually.
Like
it's called good bid.
I feel like this episode right now, what we're all doing, if someone sharp out there is looking to create an NFT business or something, we got ideas today.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah.
Harry's full of ideas.
They're just half-baked.
Is anybody aware of this, that Flume? I just saw this. Flume is dropping on Sunday on Nifty. I mean, I'm such a big Flume fan. Like, I just see that. It's like that's sick. And the dude he's working with, Jonathan Zawada, like his shit is crazy.
It is. Maybe that speaks to how much stuff is going on. Maybe that's the
I think
issue.
it does, dude.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Then Alex Gray tonight too.
Alex
It's
Gray's
like,
so sick.
you just have no idea what's happening anymore because so much is fucking happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blink and you
Can't
miss.
keep up.
How do you feel about the rush with, like, you know, the inevitable cash grabs and the celebrities coming in the mix? It's like everyone's gonna own or like do a Nifty in some capacity, right? At some point, it's gonna be like having a Twitter account. You're gonna have an NFT, no matter who you are.
It's an income stream for anyone that has a fan base.
What's your general opinion on that? Because I always kind of just.
I mean, I do. I think at some point, you know, we got to start thinking about like having more exclusive drops. It's not just like, you know, like not exclusive, but like a drop every day feels like too much to me, in my opinion. Like, I feel like we need to slow down a bit, take a few steps back, and maybe drop 3 times a week, like, and really, you know, start thinking about curation and, you know, quality of drops. You know, that's just my general opinion. And I mean, I think SuperRare does a really good job of curation with the artists, because it's not only is it difficult to get in there, but, you know, they do a really good job of the type of artists they select to put out, you know. And, you know, like I was thinking about dropping on Foundation, but to me, that still, it feels like there's so much going on over there. It's hard to like find art, and it's just like kind of a clusterfuck, you know? I don't want to shit on platforms, but.
And SuperRare's got Alessio now doing some
Yeah,
curation,
that's true.
right?
Yeah.
He's a beast.
I mean, I still think, you know, like Nifty is like the biggest platform. Everybody wants to do Nifty. I get it. But I think, you know, at some point there's got to be a little bit better curation. That's just my opinion.
That's probably why we need crypto.com in our lives to take on some of the larger cash grab ones, or maybe you're not, it shouldn't, I want to phrase this the right way, but like Nifty Gateway should be focused on art, where I think other platforms can take on, you know, social tokens that come from Snoop Dogg, where it's like, you own this and you can come roll a blunt with me or something, you know, like anything you want to do. It doesn't have to be so much art based. Like, and I understand the collaborations with artists. That's awesome if they're doing 50-50 splits and whatnot, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a place for just weird drops like that.
Or even if, I mean, whichever road they go down, right? Even if they go down hype road and not necessarily pure art road, that's fine. But the quantity is still too much.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like the short game, the mid game, the long game. And if they're trying to stick around for the long haul, I mean, for better or for worse, the market is taking a lot of direction from them. Like they are the top. Everyone's looking at them. And, you know, they really have pushed pricing and quantity together maybe a bit too far. And you see that on the secondaries, and you see how these things are shaking out. And again, for better or for worse, this market right now, at least, is tied to crypto and tied to a lot of people. The numbers are in front of us. We all see them. That's now. It's just real. And so that long game, I feel like dropping a little less, maybe not pushing the price so hard in primary, leaving the room for the secondary to run, just that general health of marketplace, I think is essential. And not just saying, oh, there'll be a next wave of collectors to pick up the slack, because at some point that narrative can't last.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I think I don't think Nifty expected to be in the position they're in all of a sudden. You know, I don't think anybody in the NFT space expected it to explode this quickly. I think we're all still like learning about the best approach moving forward. But yeah,
Speaking of celebrities, though, Paris Hilton,
Mhm.
seems like everybody really likes her on Twitter, huh?
She's doing the right. She's. I don't know if it's the whale shark playbook or it's the Paris or both. She's making some really savvy moves right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, she's involved with Sevens as well, the grant program. And, you know, it seems like her head's in the right place and she wants to help out.
Yeah, you're not just popping up on a Nifty Gateway tweet. You know, my drop is coming up next week. Come check it out. You know, it's just, you know, so hollow sometimes, but yeah, I feel like you can also get a sense to who's doing it for the right reasons and going about it the right way.
I think collectors are seeing it more now
collectors
too, where they
are smart, you know, like they're not going to invest in dumb shit.
They'll wreck it on the Nifty Gateway Discord. Like if they sniff it out, and they will toast people in there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think collectors are just, you know, the majority of collectors are doing their research. It's just the people who are coming in like now that I'm worried about, that don't really have a grasp of the space, and they're the people who might get wrecked on some of these things, you know.
Think about like you too, like for what you put into like learning, and everyone that, you know, from an artist perspective, that, you know, if you weren't familiar with the crypto space or how NFTs work, the learning curve to understand how they do work. And nowadays, if someone's just like, okay, well, you're releasing an NFT, all right, cool. Like these people don't know how it's kind of structured, you would think. And
I mean,
it takes a lot of time is pretty much what I'm saying.
It's a lot of people are coming in as collectors just based off of the hype, you know, and they probably don't really understand what they're buying. And I'm just concerned that people like that will buy a bunch of shit expecting that they can flip it and make some money, and then they can't pay off their credit card bill.
And that's because that was true December through February.
Yeah.
Like pretty much guaranteed anything you buy was going to, or sold too early was worth more money in February.
It's funny to look back at the phases. Right? I remember the days when it was realistic to sit down at your computer and have a shot fast fingering something. Those were some sweet days, especially the early ones where not that it was guaranteed, but it was close to guaranteed if you knew what you were doing. Like if you knew your way around a refresh and a mouse.
Yeah.
The activity feed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Then it became harder. Then I remember one of the last fast finger pieces. I still don't know to this day how it happened, but it was one of the Whizbees. The one where he did the like the violet and not the first one, but the second one. That was one of the last times. And then ever since then, the next phase hit, which was like the bots took over. But yeah, just to walk through those different phases of the marketplace and how things shake out over time.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, when I was trying to compete with bots, I would like have two fingers on the trackpad and be like this, like right at 6:59, I'm going like this.
I think of when we were talking to Stefan Toomuchlag, when he was talking to you, Mike, about how he got one of your one of ones and then sold it right away for some quick money to like pay for bills. And he said something like quick. He slid it in, and he was just like, so I knew how to be quick on Nifty, and I'm like, how does he know how to be quick on Nifty? He knew he was getting one of your one of ones. And I was just like,
and he said he felt bad he had to sell it, but at the time he needed the money so bad. That's what's so funny about Toomuchlag is he's like, it's like I always feel like he's just like got a backpack on, like the type of kid he is. He's like got a backpack on, and he's like going to a buddy's house to crash on the couch because he's got nowhere to stay or something, and he's like working on this big fucking project. But he's like,
he was telling us that long story that about when he was perusing down the West Coast with this girl he had met. And you shut up in the middle of the story, and at the end he's like, wait a minute, why am I talking about this? Doesn't matter, dude. It was a good story.
But I think his shortcut, I think there was a way before where you could see the sitemap and find out where the landing page of the buy now was going to be. So you could sit there like one step ahead of everyone else. I think they got rid of that too.
Yeah.
Everything changes, right? Everything changes. And then the we were talking about earlier, but that Nifty to OpenSea pathway that was so hot for a good month there, and then just closed down. Yeah. Oh, I got a fun one for you. I got scammed over there.
Really?
On OpenSea?
You got a fake?
I really pride myself on being pretty systematic and knowing my way around, and I just got to take it in the face, man. I messed up. I got scammed twice in a row.
Oh,
so
what was it?
All right, so I was coming off this pretty hot streak where one of my favorite buys ever was the pack, the lucky 3 of 3, where I had gone over to OpenSea and got that for like 6 ETH or 7 or 6.
Oh, what a play!
All right, so I'm coming off all this. You're thinking you can do no wrong, and I loved Darlington and Justra and those guys over at Monster Cat, and so they do the big drop with the constellations. Yeah. And I was looking around for the rare constellations, and I jump over to OpenSea, and there were 3 monoliths or 4 monoliths, the rarer ones, and I see right there, my eyes bug out, and it was set at the perfect price point where it wasn't shady low, it was good deal low.
Yeah.
Reasonable good deal low. And I just go boom, boom. And what I actually saw that persuaded me, someone else had gotten theoretically scammed as well. Like there was a 3rd monolith that was purchased for the same price range. And I saw the other 2. I'm like, I got to go now. And my check, the last step of my check process is to see the origination of the contract, which should be Nifty Gateway Omnibus. And I skipped that step. I skipped the step.
Yeah, you just saw it and immediately just bought it.
Bang, bang. So get this. I go so far as to then try to immediately transfer them back to Nifty. And I was talking to those guys, and I'm like, I got the monoliths,
Yeah,
bringing them back, sick. And they didn't show up on my Nifty account. And I'm like, this usually happens right away. What's going on here? And I reached out to Tommy, and I'm like, something's up. Something's up on Nifty. There's an error on the gateway. He's like, let me look into it for you, man. And get an engineer on this. And he comes back, and I actually, in the interim, I think I was talking to Illustrator and like kind of figured out that no, dude, you got scammed. Sorry to break it to you. And then Tommy comes back and he's like, man, sorry, RD. They're fakes. They're fakes.
Wow.
Where do they end up though? Did they just disappear when they got blocked by Nifty Gateway?
I think OpenSea eventually got the message. So actually the savviest scammer set up duplicates of all the constellations, like literally every single constellation. And they must have been watching for when someone legit transferred one or legit like took it off of Nifty Gateway, they immediately popped the sale price up on OpenSea. So if you're looking, you connect the dots, right? It's like, oh, this is no longer here. Makes sense that it's here. Makes sense that it would be saleable. And so the scammers were on that and just constantly trying to push those additions. So yeah, anyway, I think
That's
OpenSea. It's scary. It's
How
scary.
many people do you think have been scammed? Then?
I don't buy on
even
OpenSea.
know.
That scares the hell out of me.
I just don't know. I understand it. I can't. I haven't pulled the trigger on anything over there. I haven't even.
I think they're getting better, and I do think that they took care of those additions when the proper messaging got through that this is what happened, and I think they have cleaned it up in large part since that. It's still the wild west, but not quite like it used to be.
You should just publicly burn them like a witch at the stake. Like
if they're still there, I'll gladly do that.
Yeah,
that'd be a cool place. Like you just have a business, right? Where you are a wallet somewhere in the metaverse. It's just like the burn trash can. And people can just send it right to you and you do something awesome with the burn. In Decentraland or something, you can watch it like explode.
Mike,
are you going to do that? Are you going to do like a public bonfire for the faces?
Dude, that's a brilliant idea.
I love that.
Just a public burn.
Well, Blau didn't he do a concert or a set in Decentraland one time?
Yeah, he did. He still has like his own house there.
Yeah.
Burn him at his house.
Just put a trash barrel at the top of his driveway and light it on fire and say, come drop your face in here. Yeah.
Burn wallet. That's the name of it.
So many ideas coming out of this podcast today.
Too many ideas.
Just like a public trash barrel.
Yeah.
Drop anything you want into it and it just burns.
Yeah, you said like
somebody goes up and burns a beeple and it's just it's
Yikes.
just like it's forever like somehow like a big event or something. I don't know.
How about what are some of the most famous burns of all time? I know what Fvckrender burned a CryptoCube as a statement.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was
I did not know that. Really?
I didn't know people were burning those valuable NFTs. What without getting something back, like for MDJ or something.
Fvckrender just made statement after statement because he had purchased a ton of CryptoCubes, and at the time he gifted a few out to some serious people. And then I remember he just burned one. He just lit it up and he's like, scarcity rules. Here we go.
Can you explain then to me why he or she might have listed everything or put a $1 reserve on their entire SuperRare collection? Did you see that?
So wait, tell me the details.
I found out from Toomuchlag's Discord group. He put it in there. He's like, hey, Fvckrender, and I call him Fafo. In my head, another name I've never said out loud. So he was like, hey, Favo has reserve prices for $1, like 0.0001 ETH, whatever it was. And then they just, as soon as the reserve was met, everything just started going off. And I mean, there was some valuable stuff in
there. There was
a Victor Mosquera. There was maybe multiple of them. But I mean, I don't know anything besides that, you know, you can do whatever you want as a collector. So I was just thinking like it was cool that, you know, he went through, made all these, you know, purchases, investments, however you want to look at them. And then I'm always curious what the motive is, right? And I don't know, I kind of got my own ideas, but I thought I could get something for $1. So I definitely opened one of those bids. I hit a reserve. Yeah. One of Adam Priest's reserves. It was cool.
His Genesis piece, in fact, I think he got it back for 4 ETH.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Damn.
Thoughts was the name of the piece. It was his Genesis on SuperRare.
The guy bought it and sent it back to him.
That's cool. Crazy. That is, I mean, you do see that as an effective mechanism though. Like when Fvckrender did that I think he set his reserve to like 1 ETH on foundation, and then it's sold for, you know, a crazy amount. There's definitely a risk to it, but I think, you know, once the auction gets going, you know, people, I mean, it's $1 is such a small amount. You know, people are going to go after that. It almost like hypes the auction up more with you have all these bidders coming in, you know?
So one also thing that you can do with that is you can guarantee the end time of your auction, which is a big deal because sometimes people put bids in at weird times and then it trips off the countdown clock and then it ends at an awkward time for a lot of time zones. So if you do go low, it's a balls to the wall move. It's essentially saying, you know, I just have confidence this will work out the right way. But you can get that bid in at an exact key time and essentially game plan out when you want the most time zones to be involved in the finale.
Damn.
That's exactly what Mike was thinking when he ran his own auctions out of SuperRare.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Just updating Twitter. 2 minutes left.
That was a nightmare. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing, but I tried to like manage my own auctions because I didn't know how to set it up on SuperRare at the time. So I was like just on Twitter timing my auctions, writing in my comment section like 2 minutes left, and then I would announce every bidder that like comes in. Yeah, it was a disaster.
People probably, I mean, it probably fired up engagement though.
Yeah. People thought it was hilarious. I mean, a Nesty ended up winning one of my pieces, and he's like, dude, I was so nervous like that the timer was gonna get fucked up because obviously I was the one doing the timer. But yeah, it ended up working out, and he was stoked. He thought it was funny, like the whole Twitter thread of me commenting on like times and stuff.
These are the things we'll never forget, right? These
I know,
kind of moments.
The space is amazing. It really is.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? There was something about we were still talking about like burn ideas or memorable ones. I had one and I forget it.
Oh, somebody burned something awesome.
No, I was thinking, all right, what about this? Like, think about when having the creativity to control your own stuff. Like, were you asleep when people put out those short editions on Maker's Place?
100%.
Yeah. What was your feeling when you woke up?
I don't like to put anyone on blast, but I thought that was mismanaged. You know, like my opinion was this. I led with this. I said, listen, first of all, I'm not entitled to anything. I don't deserve anything. I'm not like, let's get that out of the way. So I'm not like playing the ego card of like, how dare you not include me? I just think from a platform perspective, when you're dealing with literally the biggest artist in the digital art space, and you're talking about these pieces, like the person who gets the #1 edition could be $1 million+ edition and on down the line from there. When you're talking about that high of a valuation, to do it, I thought kind of transparently to say, we don't want our site to crash again. You know,
exactly.
At the exact time that's probably not going to happen because a lot of time zones are either sleeping or close to sleeping or not checking their social. I just thought, hey, this is probably something for optics you might want to give everyone at least a slim chance at. Even like get your 0.0001% chance shot in there and feel good about it. You can sleep at night. But hey, they went a different road.
Dude, I think there were like, was it 700 entries? Was it under 1,000?
I believe it was.
Legitimate, like very legitimate chance to win one of those. I think it was an edition of what, 7 or 11?
7.
Like that. 7.
That's it. That's
1 in 100.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
$7
At $1 million, basically.
Wow. I mean, there has to be a better way to do it than everybody coming on the site at once, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that.
Stagger it out throughout the day. Like people can put in their entries and then you select at a different time. I don't know. Seems like if you're smart enough to have an NFT platform, you can probably do that.
Mike, you're spot on. That was exactly. I took to Twitter that morning and I wrote a post that was as close as I'll ever get to blasting someone, and then the next post I wrote was like, let me give some constructive. let me talk about this constructively. how could maybe, if you are concerned about giving everyone a shot, how could that be done? I went through like the steps. It's number one, get your account verification on point and weed the bots out that way. Number two, your lottery management system, if that's what you're going to do, has to be tight. When you take 500 entries, it can't feel different to your back end than taking 50,000 entries. If you have that lottery management system, nothing else matters. It's over. As many people, they pass your verification channel, they're a real person, wonderful, they've submitted their documentation, their passport, whatever. Then you enter and there's no friction on the back end of that website. Yeah, just steps.
I totally forgot about the debacle before that too.
Like crashed it. Yeah.
Which is just like
Yeah,
growing
accepted at this
pains.
point.
I mean,
Happy about that.
these platforms weren't prepared for the kind of traffic that they were going to get. But I think as a collector, you saw them raking in cash and you were like, come on, how do you not put it back into the platform? But
That's right.
I think we're starting to see that trickle in now.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, there was one thing I wanted to say about back to the burning thing. Did you see that Toomuchlag piece that he had where it was like you could burn the artwork to receive a Bitcoin?
Yes. Yep.
Like you can see how forward, like he's such a smart dude just to even have that concept before he did the anime drop. It's like he's thinking about things very much in line with crypto, and just yeah, he's such a smart dude. Like that to me is like the coolest burn setup ever. Like you can burn it to receive a Bitcoin and destroy the art forever.
Is that a known collector that has Satoshi's coin?
I think Illustrator has it.
Illustrator.
Illustrator owns it.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah, good hands.
But that's the most I've ever spent on an artwork. To double down and like on what you just said, Toomuchlag. Like I'm a huge believer in him as an artist and a person. I've never spent more on an artwork, and it was a statement on him, on what he was doing on the lay anime drop. The way I chose to go with it is I vied for the auction, as opposed to getting a bunch of opens. And yeah, so hey, I kind of staked my flag in the Toomuchlag ground.
We're
man,
we're definitely staking there too. So me and Tyler have a piece of one of his Wonder-1s on Super, and we just got the physical the other day.
Beautiful.
It's an infinite object. It's just sweet. It's like
Nice.
you
got the physical in?
Yeah,
It's cool.
Hell yeah, that's sick.
Physical games coming, and I mean, as people start to get them out, like you with the book, it's just gonna keep growing.
Yeah,
Mike, what was okay?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Mike, what was the piece on Maker's Place? The 101 that I almost went after, like hardcore of yours.
Flowers.
Yeah, I think that was the one. It's like the freckles with the flowers growing out of the eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun piece. Yeah, dude, I have so much artwork that from over the years that I haven't, like my style has gone through so many dramatic changes over the years. And that was kind of like one of my favorite pieces that I created like a few years ago. And there's just so many of those that I just absolutely love that I created that I'll probably do something with at some point. That's what I find myself doing, is just releasing the artworks that really truly mean something to me, something that I created in the past that I can go back and look at and be like, wow, that was a good one. And there's only a few of those. I probably have on my hard drives and everything else, probably like 4,000 pieces of art that I've created, but there's probably only 30 or 40 that stand out, and I can say that was a good one.
You think of like when we talked to Jan and Silva and Ryan, how many photos he has. It's almost like, like when we talked to Filip too, in talking about all the stuff that you have that you can just like edit. You can just do whatever you want to, really, but you just have whether it's photography or prior works, just a Rolodex of stuff to pick from, update, and do whatever you want with. The photography game, I think, is going to be. I'm waiting to see how that kind of makes its way in. I feel like there isn't too much.
GMUNK just basically did it, with it.
Nate Hill.
Yeah. I'm definitely selective about what I put out, though. Like I'm not just trying to throw out all my pre-existing work. It's like I don't even know what I'm going to put out next for Slimesunday because I got to be smart, smart about it. I'm even thinking about like doing some more creative directive, like now that I have some funds to put together like these big grand photo shoots, like I want to do those. Like I have this one concept that I've been trying to do for the past like 5 years where like I turn, a girl's face into a slice of cake and you pull the, like have like a cut of cake coming out of the face. And then maybe like the fucking blood is like a bunch of like, syrup or something. I don't know. I've just had this concept that I've wanted to do for so long and I haven't been able to do it yet because I could never afford to put together one of these photo shoots, but now I can. So I'm just,
who would do that with you? Maurice Sperlich.
Yeah, I know, dude. I actually sent that over to him, but we're trying to do this thing with, we're going to like try to build this AI that we can put both of our artworks into and train it so that, we feed it a bunch of our artworks. And then the output is, the trained AI's
collab.
Yeah. So it's like,
that's awesome.
Slime Sperlich. And it's just like, we trained an AI to create.
In the machine.
Yeah.
Slime Sperlich in the machine.
Yeah. So that's on the list for us. But I got to get through this Playboy drop. And then I have a solo drop in June that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing yet. But after that, I'm going Slime Sperlich. I'm doing big fucking photo shoots, cake face.
Cake face.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's what's great about this space as an artist is like you can afford now to reinvest in yourself and create better art. Where before, like, I was pretty much broke. The only thing I could afford was to pay my rent, and I'd been using the same laptop for like 7 years. Now I can like actually, I can afford to do some shit to make better art. And that's all I'm going to use the money for, is just to make better art.
I love hearing that. The reinvestment into craft is just brings a smile to my face. It's like, that's what it's all about. And I feel like same thing from even the other side of it, like collectors and investors who are clearly like taking capital and reinvesting it into the space, and everyone just seems to be wanting to grow together. Yeah. And like other artists as well. Like, like being able to buy a GMUNK feels fucking awesome. I wanted, like, as soon as I saw that book, I was like, I need to get that. It just, like, it feels good to support artists that and like, I've been such a big fan of GMUNK, like for, when I first started making art, GMUNK was one of the first people that I saw and was like, wow, his shit's cool. And yeah, being able to buy a GMUNK and support other artists it feels great. It's a very like symbiotic relationship with collectors and artists. Like collectors are fucking cool. Like they're just as much involved in this space as the artist is. And, without the collector, like this space would not exist. And without the artist, this space wouldn't exist. So it's like a symbiotic relationship between the artist and the collector, which is fucking crazy. Can't imagine that being, like in the traditional art world, that's not something that would ever exist. So true. Yeah. It's like, I remember talking to a few artists that were in the traditional art world, and it's like, you never found out who bought your piece. It was always anonymous. Like people didn't want to be revealed and shit, but like you can, collectors can remain anonymous, but you can still have conversation with them on like Twitter or something, or, Yeah, these are powerful mediums.
Roger, I guess I had a question for you, because I don't know the story behind it, but there has to be a story behind the picture that's behind you, the piece that's behind you. Is
Basquiat?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Trevor?
No, I thought, okay. So my dumbass thought that was something to do with one of the the Pog and the Trevor Jones collabs, and I was like, did you get a physical from that?
Yeah.
It is, I think.
Okay, all right. So give me the story. My dumbass tricked myself.
Right.
All right, good.
All right, so okay,
no.
So here's the story behind that. That was the exact moment where I was able to step up. Like I had done enough where I could step up my investment in the space, my collection. Everything could go up a notch at that moment. But I didn't think that I would be able to land one. I just thought it would exceed price. Hey, listen, I could step up, but not that up at that moment in time. So I had this, I'll tell the story now. I don't think I've ever actually said this. I set myself an exact budget for what I was willing to spend on a 1-of-1 Trevor and pack piece. And the first one that I went after was not the one with the physical. It was the collab with the rotating cube, right? And it went to like 35,000. I think ET Young might have won that one. And it comes around now to the version with the physical portrait. And I had 16,667 in my mind. 16,667 was my exact upper limit. And the bidding's going. And I remember I was even like walking town because I just didn't think I had any shot because I had seen all the other auctions go and whatever. And I'm walking town and I put my first bid. I'm like, whatever. I'll show support even though it's going to go way over. And I put the first bid in. And I remember getting home and it was like at 16 something. I'm like, all right, let me take my last volley at this. And I think I put in, what was it? 16,650. 16,650 done, right? And waiting, and the timer's counting down, and it ends. And I thought I found some sort of a hole in the universe. You know, I felt like, and even later, Eric Young was like out to lunch. He told me he was out to lunch or something. He's like, dude, you're lucky.
Literally
back from lunch. I'm like, I guess I'm lucky you were out at lunch. And here
That's
we are.
awesome.
And here we are. There it is.
Isn't it amazing to like actually have a physical like painting though? Doesn't it feel sick? Like I actually bought one recently. Like I saw this, I forget her name, but I saw it on Twitter. Like it popped up on like the popular page. This girl was like painting, and it's from that movie City of God. And dude, it's so sick. It's like right here, but it's like I'm so stoked on this just because like
Nice.
it's so good too. Like just the paint, like, man, it feels so good to have like a talented painter's like piece of work.
It's a whole different thing. It really is.
Yeah.
It arriving, it's in a bit of different packaging, you know, than the normal thing. Like a print, right, comes in the rolled up tube. And
exactly.
And don't get me wrong, it's amazing to receive a print. But the canvas that can't be bent, can't be folded, it comes differently, it's unpacked differently, it's held differently. Yeah, there's something to it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I still like, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for like physicals now. Cause I still want to have like physical pieces out there, you know, like I think it's cool.
Did Roger, was that, I know I actually remember seeing your tweet about really kind of when you went all in, and I think it was just about like buying studio equipment and stuff like that. Was that around the time you landed that, or where did that kind of line up?
It's a good question. Close. Yeah, close to the same time. I still have to upgrade my studio. I'm still not comfortable with my studio, but my backdrop needs to get better. All this art needs to get hung. I think I knew that I had some prints coming, and I kind of didn't want to arrange the wall before they got here, but that's turned into a bit of procrastination where I just need to get it going. And then I need my lighting to be a little bit better. And then the audio panel for the mic. So yeah, it's still a work in progress. This studio needs to get stepped up yet again.
Well, we're basically all just working in closets. So.
Yeah, we're in the basement.
I know. Yeah, I need to upgrade too. But you know who I hit up the other day? And I hit up Genesu and I was like, yo, can I get a print? She's like, nah. NFT. And I was like,
down.
Yeah, I was like, what? Fuck. Because I want one so bad. They're sick. And just denied me right there. So some people aren't willing to go the physical route anymore. But
that person moved some stuff on SuperRare.
I would love to have one of those. Just a print, you know?
That's a nice style too to have a print of.
Yeah.
Nice, like that color pop.
Yeah. It's like pop art. But yeah, just straight wrecked on the Twitter.
Can't do it, Slime Sunday.
Yeah, in public.
I respect that though. Like,
yeah. Hey, I think those are good moves long term. You know, if someone makes a decision, however, even if it sucks for someone else because they can't get it, but when someone makes that decision and sticks to that line and repeats that line, I have nothing but respect for it because
absolutely.
You're sticking to a direction.
Yeah, you're going in on NFTs and you're not. If you decide you're never going to release a physical, like, it makes total sense.
Yep.
I thought about it for a second, but I was like, for me, I still love having things on my wall, you know, like pieces of paper and So I think, you know, like I want to still find a way to do like NFTs with a physical, but not make it as complicated as it's been in the past.
Yeah, true.
It'll get easier with time, inevitably.
Roger Kilimanjaro sold for 16K.
Ooh, good update.
One at a time. Philip next.
Yeah,
Yep.
Philip's up next, and it's moving. So it was at 17, now we're at 18.
Is this the last 5?
Yep, last 5. Well, if you throw in the real CryptoCube, that's technically
I meant 5 minutes.
Oh, it's
last
7
5 minutes,
minutes
guys.
left.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tommy's all in there.
Tommy's buying art these days.
Yeah.
Tommy's buying, or Tommy in at 20K. Yeah, he's buying art these days.
Damn.
He's top bid right now.
Yeah.
I respect that. There was something I heard on a podcast earlier, and it was someone talking about why they were doing their podcast, and it was like, you can tell, and this is just a question I guess I have for you, Roger, kind of where you see, you know, why you got into this game, and I don't know, I honestly don't know much about your background at all, so I was kind of curious because, like, I know me and Tyler just started really just shooting the shit because there's stuff that we're thinking about, right? And this is stuff that like is on our brain. And the podcast that I heard, the guy said that you can tell when someone's working, right? And in doing it because it's their job, compared to like something that you listen to when you're in the car, or like you're watching on video, just like at work, and it's in your ear, and you can tell when someone's doing it because they want to do it. And like with you can tell you want to do it. And I know for us, it's just like, this is just stuff that would be on our brain anyway. And Mike, I mean, you know, as a creator and someone that's, you know, taking a big part in, you know, obviously connecting us with people and talking to them and taking your time, you know, you don't do this just because you have to, it's because you want to. So I was curious where you kind of, you know, pictured this going, and how you pictured it from the beginning and how it's developed, and just kind of, you know, why you dove in a little bit.
That's for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot there.
I started origin stories because I had to. I was compelled to. It was like a magnet, right? You know, so Mike, from the moment where I purchased your NFT, I'd been studying for a while prior to that. I'm very transparent that I came in first thinking it would be a good investment opportunity. And then all of a sudden, greater percentage of my brain started switching over. Right now, I'm a hybrid. I wear both sides. I have pieces of art that I will never sell, and I have pieces of art that I may sell at some point in time. And then as I started falling in love with it, I also started making friends, like very real friends that to this day, I don't think I'll ever lose, like wherever this space goes, both artists and collectors as well. And so I said, I need to contribute to the space, and I want to know more. Like, I want to know more about the artist. I'm a big story person. I'm a big context person. I think context adds to art, period, end of story. And 100%. So I said, I've done some podcasts in the past as part of, I had a fitness and wellness business back in the day. And I said, I can contribute like this. I have a clear vision for what I would want this to be. So I'm just going to create what I want. And some people in the early days were very willing to come on and just riff with me and share their stories. And now, you know, and I'm grateful to be here. So I guess that was phase one. I did it because I had to. And then in terms of switching my life over completely to NFTs, that required an idea, right? That required a direction, not just, I'm going to start telling stories on a podcast. It was, can I do something concrete here to build in a pragmatic fashion as well as out of love? And yeah, I found that thing. And I'm going to tell you about that off air.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
Maybe we cut it right here.
Yeah, that's
we could pick it up. I'll tell you what. One of the first places that I'll announce more concrete details, I'll come on if you guys want. That's Nifty.
Deal.
Oh yeah.
Scoops.
So, Scoops. All right. Why don't we do that? Why don't we cut here for today?
Yeah.
And then I'll talk to you guys a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like we could have kept going here.
I agree. This is good.
You know, like we had some good banter going with a lot of shit. We'll have to do another one of these.
Sure.
This is good. And I think it's like, it just kind of hit me where it's like, you know, we're working together. It's the same thing with the artists in the space, right? You know, supporting each other. And it's just such a, it's a, you know, a welcoming place for people that want to, you know, come about it the right way. And I just like, it's just always on my brain.
The community's so cool. Like, I mean,
It is.
you hear all about the negative stuff about social media and whatnot, and I have not encountered that on Twitter at all.
That often.
No, like Facebook is toxic as hell, and there's a lot of nonsense on Instagram. But if we stay in your little bubble in Twitter, it's pretty nice. And if you venture outside of it, it gets a little wild out there.
It just kind of hit me too. It's like because I feel like if you go look at it when everyone's Twitter opened, like when they originated, it was from like October 2020 to February 2021. So it's like we're all just in like it's our first kind of not first exposure to Twitter, but like we don't know anything else. Yeah, it's good to see. It's wholesome stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah, guys, let's do this again. So I would say right around the room, all three of you guys, it's just nothing but good vibes. I very much feel at home. Like we're obviously all doing different things, but I very much feel at home. We're all in this for the right reasons. We're all in this thing to build, and I have no doubt that 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, in various ways, we're all going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully in New York, meeting up.
Oh yeah, in October.
Right.
I was just gonna ask, where are you located?
I'm just outside Philly. I'm about 30 minutes out of Philly.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll have the East Coast down in lockdown. I don't know anyone else in the area.
All right, guys. Well, we'll cut recording until the next time. We got much more to come. I feel like in terms of cross pod collabs.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Stick around for part 2 when you get all the info. What's that? Cliffhanger? Is that what they call it in the business?
Yep.
A tease?
Cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, man. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, this was great.
Thanks for
I
having.
appreciate it, RD.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
It goes both ways.
it's right, dude. It does. All right. Peace, guys.